All right, today we're going to be drawing a peeking frog, a frog peeking over a leaf, and we're just going to draw it in pencil today. But then we are going to use complementary colors to color in the frog, and then probably paint the background with watercolor paint. So you're going to get a square like this, and the first thing you want to do is write your name on the bottom right hand corner. Please write only your first name. I'm going to put Mrs. B, but please write only your first name because I will take a picture of this for Art Sonia and I don't want your last name on there. Okay, so to start, the materials you need, of course, are a pencil, a big eraser, which I will be passing around, one for every 2 people. Not everybody will have one. And these are going to help us keep our frogs the right size. These are going to be for the eyes. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you are going to want to sort of draw a line going across your paper. This is going to be where the frog will be peeking over the leaf. Okay, and this one is a little too turned. When I did this one, it was a little bit more straight, so we're going to try to do that. So we need to leave a big amount of space at the top of the paper for the frog's face. So we're going to do something like this. Now before we get started, I want to mention something. I always talk about draw light until you get it right, and there's a reason for that. I'm going to show you in the back of my paper. If I make a line and I press really, really hard and I decide I don't like that line, when I try to erase it, you can see it doesn't erase all the way. You can still see the line. But if I press very lightly like a feather and just do a very light line on my paper, when I erase it, you don't see it, or you don't see it as much. So we definitely want to draw light until you get it right. That means pressing very lightly with your pencil. I can't stress that enough. Okay, so we're going to sort of draw this curved line going across our paper like this. This is sort of the edge of the leaf. And you want it to be no higher than halfway, maybe even a little lower than that. So somewhere around halfway or just a little lower, just a light curved line. Now we're going to be erasing some of this, so again, you don't want to draw it dark. So we're going to use these circles to draw the eye of the frog. So we're going to do the first eye about right here, and then of course the second eye will go over here. But we want to leave some room because right here, let me get you need to leave some room for the little frog hands that come over the edge. Okay, so that's why I want to leave a little bit of space here. So just a little bit above and with a little bit of space here, we're going to hold that circle down, carefully trace around it. Then I'm going to slide it over here. If I put the frog's eye way up here, that's not going to be good. We're sort of following the curve that we made. So you want to, frog's eyes are spread kind of far apart. Okay, so we've got the 2 eyes there. So now what we want to do is we want to make these eyes look like they are popping up out of the top of the frog's head a little bit. So to do that, I'm going to start at the very top of the circle. Very lightly, I'm going to sort of follow along, and then I'm going to make this curve right here. Follow along, and as you come down, you're just going to draw this line. And then you'll see once we add this line going across the top, this is slightly curved as well. I don't know if you can see where I'm holding my pencil. I'm actually holding it back here because that helps me hold it more lightly. You could still do that up here. All right, so I think I've drawn these a little too far, so I'm going to erase a little bit. Okay, so now we have this look here as if the frog's eyes are sort of popping up over the top of the head. That's kind of what we're going for, okay? All right, so we're going to draw the bottom of the frog's face now, and this is going to probably dip below your leaf line, okay? So it's going to start on the side, and it's going to come around like this, okay? And I, made a little bit of a mistake here, so I'll go back and fix that up a little bit. You want it to be about as wide as the frog's eyes. So if it starts here and goes across, it's not going to be big enough. And it should dip down over your leaf. We should be overlapping just a little bit. All right, so from here on the side, we're going to draw the frog's side of its body, just sort of coming down and stopping right at that leaf shape. All right, now we can erase the leaf line that is going through the center. So now it looks like our frog's face is sort of peeking over the frog, and that's overlapping. Pretty simple, but gives this feeling of space, like there's something in front of the other. Let's go in and work on the details in our eye. So tree frogs, which is kind of the type of frog that we're going to be working with, have these sort of really thin pupils, I guess. And so if you just find the center of your eye and sort of curve one way and then curve the other way, you just want to make sure they're about the same size. So if one ends up really skinny and one ends up really wide, that you want to take a minute or so to sort of tweak that and just kind of make them exactly the same size. And I'm just going to go in and clean some of this up a little bit because I have, sort of double lines from the way that I was sketching. And then we want to add this little circle on the side here that makes it look realistic. This is a reflection of light. So on the side here, I'm going to draw a circle like this, and it's kind of half going off of the pupil and into the bigger circle like that. And then you want to erase, this is more overlapping. You want to erase the line going through like this. All right, we're going to draw the frog's mouth now, which is going to come across. It can be just one line like this, straight line, or it can sort of dip up in the middle and then come across. It's not a point. It's a very light, like a little tiny hill right in the middle. All right, from here, we're going to make the frog's hands. So to do that, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make, we'll say, a hill on either side. And I didn't leave myself a ton of room over here, so I'm just going to have to try to make it work. On either side of the frog's body. And then we're going to continue that line down pretty far because the frog's, hands are long and skinny. And they sort of come out as they go, so they're not perfectly straight. They sort of come out just a little bit. I'm going to do that on this side too. And you'll see here, I probably would end up going off the page a little bit. So if that happens for you, then you're just going to have to sort of pretend like that line would go down here and have to make it work. And the rest of you who have room, of course, can just draw it. So now we need to make 3 sort of fingers. And so to do that, I'm going to start by drawing these curved lines, like upside down U's that are kind of skinny. So I'm going to leave a little space and I'm going to draw this U like this. And then I'll leave a little bit of space and draw another upside down U. Or maybe you could think of it as a curved capital A, however you want to look at it. And then to finish it off at the bottom, I'm still drawing very lightly, I'm going to draw these circles. Now this one's going to go off the page, which is totally fine. Okay, then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I don't know if I'm going to have enough room for this one, so I just have to keep going until it goes off. So like my hand will end up going off. But if yours doesn't, then finish those details up. No big deal. All right. So now we are going to erase any lines that are going through the frog's hand. So we are going to erase this and this. That's more overlapping that I'm doing. But this is still important here and here because this is where the frog is peeking. So you can see now that we have a frog face that is peeking up over the side of a leaf. And the last thing we're going to do, just to add some color down here at the bottom, is we're going to make some nice, neat circles on the frog's hand, like polka dots. We're not going to do it on the face. So I'm going to be very careful to draw nice, neat circles that close at the top. And I want some of them to sort of go off the edge as well. So some places you'll be able to fit a full circle, and some places you'll just sort of have to draw part of a circle. And then I'll do the same over here. I want to keep them about the same size, but if some are a little bigger or smaller than others, that's okay. Again, it's pleasing to the eye to have some of them going off the edges. Okay, so this is pretty much where we're going to stop for drawing the frog. And at this point, if you want to go through and sort of fix some things, like to me, this one needs to be a little wider to match this one. You know, this is where if you draw really lightly, you can sort of go back and fix any mistakes that you might have. Okay, and then I probably will do a separate video for coloring, or we may just go over it in class. But this is the drawn frog.